how did you get into teaching?
So, um, well, honestly, just the watching my mom and how she was, like she taught us to love people. Honest, I don't want to sound like I'm bragging about myself, but my mom taught us to love people and to care about other people, and especially those who are the most vulnerable. And that's the type of woman she was, and I saw that. And when I went to college, I knew I wanted to be a teacher, and it's something I wanted to do, especially be a teacher in the neighborhood where I grew up at, and just being with students who grow up the way I do, talk the way I do, look the way I look, and just being whatever I can for them. I say to them all the time, I can never be their dad, but like if you need me to be like a dad to you, I'll do that. If you need a friend in the moment, I'll do that. I'll try to be motherly if you need that, but just trying to be the person that we all needed when we were 12, 13, 14 years old.
So you're Philly born and bred. You look like the students that you teach. You're in the community
Yeah.
that you grew up in. What was it like at the start of the pandemic when the whole world basically shut down and your school was, like many schools in this country, effectively turned upside down?
When it started, obviously we're all clueless. I remember literally saying to my class, like, don't get too hype. I'll see you guys in 2 days. They're just gonna clean the school. And I'm like, worst case scenario, we're out for 2 weeks. I'll see you in a little bit. Enjoy your time off, right? And then, like how it all happened. I just got back to school for the first time since March. What is that? March 2020.
March 2020.
And now September 2021, so it's like a year and a half later. It's just super weird. Zoom was super weird for everybody. Just the best parts of teaching was lost on Zoom. Just being with the kids, chilling with them, and Zoom definitely made it difficult. But as teachers, you're doing whatever you can, no matter how much you hate Zoom. You're just trying to make it the best case scenario for the students.
How did you juggle the pandemic for yourself, for your students, this effort and energy you were giving to your mom's campaign to get her to Egypt, and also
Mm.
spending time with your wife, your family, your friends, and your personal life? What was all of that like?
Honestly, the most exhausting time in my life. I was, this is the first time someone's asked me that, but honestly, it was the most stressful thing I ever went through. Even through the whole cheesesteak drive, like I literally would go sit in my car and just like break down, like just, it was a ton to juggle. And, also just dealing with the fact that I knew there was like this gloom of my mom was eventually going to pass. It was a super challenging time in my life, but no, I overcame and I grew from it. And hopefully I can, use this story to tell my students, and hopefully it encourages them as well.
Can you tell us about your students a little bit?
Yeah, I love them. They're crazy, all the right amounts of crazy. They're so my school's in a neighborhood called Frankfurt in Philadelphia. It is a basically a lower economic school, and most of our population is Black or Hispanic, but it's pretty diverse. Students of all different cultures and stuff. But the kids, they all got that Philly grit. They're all tough. They're always ready for a challenge and stuff like that. But they're super fun. I think they're at a great age. I teach seventh and eighth grade, so it's like they still want to learn. They want to be liked. They want to impress you and stuff, and they're still so moldable. So just being with them made me, once again, like from Zoom, being with them just like made everything like so much better. Just getting to see them again and see how much they've grown in the last 2 years is just super rewarding.
So, since the pandemic has kind of moved forward now, we're into basically the third straight year that there's been a COVID-19 pandemic during a school year. What is it like now?
It's definitely a lot different than the last time we were in the building. Everyone's wearing the mask. We have so much, like so many protocols in place to keep everybody safe. So it's definitely added new challenges, but surprisingly, the students, they haven't made it any more difficult. I did think it was going to be a battle, like, hey, like, yo, put your mask on, put your mask on, but they've been doing a great job. And everyone wants to be in the building, so they're going to do whatever they can to stay in school because nobody likes Zoom. So
No,
yeah,
you're
really
right.
good.
We on Zoom right now, and I wish I could throw it out.
Yeah,
It's
for real.
it's it's difficult to deal with the digital divide. It
Yeah,
truly is. With all the laptops that I've got open right now, recording and trying to figure out the Wi-Fi and the lighting and everything like that, I wish and I hope that one day we can get back to an in-person dialogue and conversation.
yeah,
Just like you said, you lost a little bit with being on Zoom with your students, but
yeah.
that in-person interaction with
Hmm.
your teachers is kind of the most memorable part of school for a lot
Yeah,
of people.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I know it was a lot of a struggle for students in this country. What did you see as far as the mental health from the kids in your virtual classrooms, and also from you and your colleagues?
Yeah, as far as the kids go, that's definitely something that I know myself and other teachers, my other colleagues, have been worried about the students' mental health, all especially when we were on Zoom. Just trying to figure out ways to make them not go crazy sitting on a computer every day. And I can imagine being 12 years old. You got a million thoughts running through your head. You're trying to figure out life, and then you're stuck on a computer for 8 hours. I mean, I really couldn't imagine. So like, worrying about them was definitely a concern, and also trying to balance our own mental health because I was losing my mind, So it was definitely a struggle. It was, 1 hour of Zoom, like teaching on Zoom felt like forever. And you lose that intimacy, like the deeper like conversations you have, even something simple like dapping a kid up when they walk into school and they be real hyped to like, do your handshake with them and stuff like that. And you just miss that. And so I'm super happy to be back. Definitely feel my mental health is improving, just being with more people and stuff like that.
How did you get through some of those moments, like you were saying, where you're losing your mind, you go sit in your car breaking down? Who did you go to?
Yeah, definitely my wife. At the time, my mom as well. She would, especially when I was doing the cheesesteaks and cooking, just tell me to relax and take it one day at a time. And that's just, who she was. But also other colleagues, knowing that we're all going through the same thing definitely made it a little easier. And just, trying to bounce ideas off one another to remain sane. And also taking a trip to Egypt definitely helped with my mental health and going crazy being in the house all day.
I bet that weather wasn't bad either.
That was nice, man. It was real nice.
I do want you, someone who's so inspiring, has such an inspiring story. If you haven't seen the Steve Hartman on the Road CBS Evening News story, I suggest you check that out. He was on Tamron Hall. You've been interviewed so many times. You are an inspiration. Your
Thank you.
mom, Gloria, you in this fight with students, you are an inspiration. Anything you want to say to teachers or give any advice to other teachers around the country who might be listening and watching this, who think they're going to jump out of this race, who think
Yeah.
that they're not being paid enough, or that the cost is too steep right
Mhm.
now? We've had a teacher shortage over the last 2 years. What do you
Yeah.
want to say about people who are struggling?
Well, firstly, thank you. I really appreciate you saying that. And if I could be of any inspiration to teachers, just keep fighting a good fight. We are all underpaid for sure. It's I think we do God's work, and I think it's underappreciated a lot of time. But you know what it means to the kids, right? And what you mean to them. And one thing I always try to say to my colleagues is, yo, like you might be the only person that this student has a positive interaction with all day, right? You might be the only person who tells this kid that you love them, that you care about them, that they matter, right? And you can't put a price on that, right? And I have 110 students, so I have 110 opportunities to make somebody's day, to encourage someone, to make them feel loved, to make them feel special, because they do. And I want them to feel loved, and I'm sure anyone that is a teacher wants that. So you are appreciated by the students. Maybe not so much in your bank accounts, but just keep fighting a good fight, and just know that you matter, and try to keep a good balance of your own mental health as well as checking on the kids.
It's always for the students. So I want to thank you so much
Yeah.
for those uplifting words and sharing your stories about your wonderful mother, Gloria Walker. When is Gloria's opening up?
I don't know. I get that question a lot. I'm hoping as soon as possible. I'm really shooting for maybe the summer. I just started doing cheesesteaks again. I took a little hiatus since my mom passed, but I started selling cheesesteaks again to raise money for actually school supplies for students. So I've bought like every student in my 7th grade notebooks, composition books with the money that I raised, hand sanitizer. I got another teacher a whiteboard. She needed a whiteboard for a couple years, and I was able to raise money already on the first Saturday that I did this. So I definitely am doing cheesesteaks again, and hopefully have a shop someday, and hopefully by the summer, but we'll see.
All right, looking forward to Glorious. When I come up to Philly, I'm looking for you, Dustin. I want to thank you so much for taking your time. My special guest, Dustin Vitale.
Thank you for having me, and you got my number, so I got a cheesesteak ready for you whenever you up here.